Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Can you hear me?
Good morning. Loud and clear, sir. Loud and clear.
My apologies, man. I'm having some technical problems with my laptop now. I'm going back to my phone. Sorry to start this time around. But is all our members here?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Is Naki connected?
Yes.
Okay. Who's another member? Who's this? Matuane? Absent. Okay. Naki is available. See. Members, I hope you have your agendas in front of you. Let's start our meeting. Greetings to everyone who's connected. Let me welcome every member. Sorry for the noise. The IT guys are busy at my back with my laptop. My apologies for the noise behind me. They're trying to sort out my laptop. Okay, let me apologize for starting late. And thank you to the team that we've moved the meeting for today. We apologize for that as well. We have issues last week in terms of the electricity between the main building. Now we're going to have this meeting today. It's supposed to be started by 9 o'clock, but it's 9:03. At least we're not that late. By those few words, I'm welcoming all of you. Is the translator part of the meeting? Mr. Part, are you available? Mr. Part, are you part of the meeting?
Councillor, Chairperson, unfortunately, Bart is not available. He left with Stephen Langens very urgently to address the Ward 4 people that have stopped the project.
$1.6 billion grant by ESCOM to McKinsey and Gupta Link Trillion Capital. Today,
Thanks for that explanation. Councillor Ngezu, can you mute yourself? Someone mute Councillor Ngezu. Thank you. With those few words, I was welcoming all of you. Is the MM also connected?
Right.
Is the MM connected? Is the MM part of this meeting? Can someone assist me? Can corporate assist me in terms of who's present, in terms of councillors? Can someone assist me in terms of coordination, please? Carl?
Councillor?
Yes?
It's Richard here. Director Eben Phillips is not present. He is out of town. Stephen is busy with white location, so I'm just sitting in on behalf of community services.
Okay, thanks, Richard. And at finance, to where Pumbulelo. Carl, can you coordinate in terms of checking the directors who are present for me, please, so that we can move?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, we can see who's present. Joe will minute the councillors and officials present. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Then we are moving. Then we are now at point number 3. Provision of code of conduct of councillors and declaration. Is there anyone who want to declare something? Committee members, is there anything that you want to declare, or should we move? Strubel, are you still around?
I'm here, Chair. I think we can move.
Okay, thank you, sir. There's no presentation. Can we confirm the minutes? We are now bullet number 5. Committee members. Committee members. Mama Vedeman, are you still around?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Can we move?
Yes, Chair, we can move.
Okay. Thank you. Now we are at point number 6, matter arising. Is there any matter? Is there anything that you've picked up, committee members, even councillors?
Chairperson, I'm good.
Oh, you good, thanks. Let's move then. Then, committee members, we are matters submitted by the MM, bullet number 7. I would like this, the director available. Marlene, are you on?
Yes, Chairperson, I am present in the meeting, and also the heads of department, Ms. Pam Booth is in the meeting, Randolph Damas is in the meeting, Sean Madambo is in the meeting, and Fumi Makuwe is in the meeting as well.
Okay, thank you. Director, okay.
Yes, sorry, and Colleen Durant from Westgrove is also present in the meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Director, for that explanation. My committee members, if you have your agendas in front of you, you've got 7.6 and 7.14. Those are Westgrove reports. We must get them together. One is a July report, another one, but we must treat them together. Are you following me? Rubel?
Chairperson, I'm following you.
Yes, and there was a request, my councillors, from my director that we start with the Westgrove report, then we deal with the others, because the Westgrove people need to go and to do some other commitments. As you know, that we are a tourist destination town, and under the pandemic, we need to have money. We must create jobs, and the only way is through tourism. Can we allow them first to deal with the issues of 7.6 and 7.14, then we deal with the others? Can you allow them that space?
Yes.
I agree, sir.
Agree.
Okay.
Yes, Chair.
Thanks. Director, the floor is with you now with Westgrove.
Yes. Thank you, Chairperson. I'm going to hand over to Colleen Durant to just present the report, and so that if there's any questions from the councillors, that she can address this. Thank you.
Thank you. Corinne?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you. Just my camera on to say that it is me, and good morning to everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. I'll share my screen and the reports. Not that one. Sorry, my other one first. Sorry, this one first. It is the report that went in August. It is from May to July. The second report that I will share is up until last week's scheduled meeting. With regards to our response to the COVID situation, we've worked very closely, and in fact, we've actually we've worked closer ever since, and continue to do so, and going forward, we'll definitely do so more. So it is actually, there are advantages within bad times. Their process was containment, adaptation, and recovery. In containment, we closed the office as instructed nationally. Our marketing, the event billboards changed to promote safe environments. Our social media adjusted to one day when we are open, bucket list ideas, the feeling of nostalgia, one day when you can travel back to the area. Our radio advertising also adjusted to the lockdown messaging, and we developed a video for staying at home, which was shared on social media and showed our wide open spaces and the environment that we live in. From an office perspective, we continue to develop our databases. In fact, they're actually very populated now. We've worked very closely with Westgrove. They have a customer relations management system, and going forward, that is how we're going to be operating internally. So a very exciting internal system to work from. We have four major databases. The one is our general stakeholders, which is basically our locals, events, trade, which is our industry, and that is operators, travel agents, etc., and then media. We were very busy from a newsletter updating perspective. We sifted through all information and then shared relevant information to our stakeholders, items that impacted them and were relevant to them. We get to date, we get a lot of information, and obviously we can't share everything that we get, so we sift through and share the necessary with them. We submitted a repurposed budget, which I addressed to the previous meeting, and those were the items that were submitted through that. The query has been asked with Wesgrow, is there value for money? And initially it was a slow process. It was a total adjustment. It was an adjustment for Visit Knysna. It was an adjustment for our destination. It was an adjustment for municipality. And it's also been a big adjustment for Wesgrow. They have taken in a local destination, which is not in principle part of their mandate. So it's been a big adjustment from their side. And I must thank them actually, because especially during this COVID time, we have worked much more closely with them. And as I said at the beginning, we continue to do so. So we have weekly meetings with our DMO, and the DMO being the Destination Marketing Organization, that is their Leisure and their Convention Bureau division and their Marketing division. We have weekly engagements across all units within Wesgrow every Friday morning, and that has been very interesting to understand the operations within Wesgrow, and even within themselves, they're actually identifying more and more streamlined opportunities to be working cross-sector within the organization. So it really has been very interesting, and I've actually appreciated that opportunity. Every second week we have meetings with senior managers, and everybody updates on what their operations are, what their team is busy with, and they're obviously a great assistance in supporting us. And from our side, they developed a support business website, and it was very nice to be able to, between us and the LED department, to direct our stakeholders to the Wesgrow website support business during the pandemic period. We're in ongoing discussions with the research team. Previously, and I've mentioned this before, previously information office was where the tourists stopped. Now information is online, and hence I will touch on it later. We are developing a new website, but we need to adjust our research to accommodate that. So we're working very closely with their research team. Their research team has been very involved in all spheres during this virus, because the research has been so different. Before it was pretty much standard year on year, and now it really has turned everything upside down. So they've played a big role in identifying opportunities, where they see opportunities, and what is actually happening during the process. And I touched on the CRM, which is their internal customer relations system, and our information is now integrated into the Wesgrow system. They were very involved in the repatriation program, and Visit Knysna gained benefit from that on all the flights that left from the Cape Town International Airport. There was a farewell message, there was a farewell gift, and Knysna collateral was also included in that. And in our virtual backgrounds that we have, the garden route is presented by Knysna and the Knysna heads as per the picture depicted. They have the Cross Cape cycle routes, and we feature prominently in those. And next week they're actually launching the next route, and Visit Knysna will be in attendance there. We have been working with the Wesgrow team and the DDAC team on this, and the Karoo crossing, which starts in Knysna and traverses through to Carlitsdorp, that is launching next week, and the premiere will be in Prince Albert, where the launch is taking place, to launch that fourth leg of the Cape cycle routes, which is very exciting. The Cape cycle routes, actually, it's a great platform, and intend to work far more closely with cycling and the Cape cycle routes to promote cycling in the Greater Knysna area, because it is really a great destination. But from a social media perspective, there's great exposure that is given to that. They have their Discover Cape Town, Cape Town and the Western Cape, Cape Town being the hook, obviously, because every tourist comes to South Africa, comes to Cape Town, and as the garden route, and certainly the Greater Knysna area, we benefit from being incorporated into all their itinerary offerings, and Knysna specifically does get additional benefit wherever there is opportunity on the Wesgrow platforms. We certainly get that exposure. From a Visit Knysna perspective, from the marketing side, that we shared the video. We have shared the link to the municipality. I'm not going to play it here. That was encouraging our stakeholders and locals to stay home but enjoy the beauty of what we have. We did 12 virtual tours. Cape Town, Wesgro did 2 of them, and we expanded and did a further 10 with our local tourist guides. These were 1-minute virtual tours, and we had great exposure and great support for our tourist guides. There was actually a snap scan component to it, unfortunately not as successful as what had been hoped, but the guides did benefit financially in support of their presentations that they did, and it covered the greater Knysna area. We ensured that the ones selected certainly did come all. So that was great exposure to that. Then on our social media, further promotion on the bucket list ideas and what to do in the greater Knysna area when travel resumes. And then our restaurant guides and our activity guides, once the activities did start, we kept those up to date, ensuring that the locals knew what was opening, when it was opening. So literally it was on a daily basis. There were updates to those. As we went into recovery, some of the staff returned. We're pretty much at capacity now, and all our PPE and etc. was all in place. And we opened a business desk inside the office to support our SMMEs that didn't have access to data and internet, to support them, that they could actually come into the office and use the desk for an hour at a time, that we set up in the corner. It is still operational. And we do have locals coming in to utilise that service, which has been a great offering for them. With Wesgro, we continue to have those meetings, and we're also included in their marketing campaign. There's been a total, as I've mentioned earlier, a total integrated approach within Wesgro, certainly through this lockdown process. And that has been very good. We had a meeting with the mayor and the municipal manager and our councillor, and look forward to when we actually can address our stakeholders collectively. We had the Knysna Oyster Festival, which is a separate report for. But through the process now, while lockdown has been underway, we appoint a local service provider to develop our new website. It is a mobile-first website. It is different to anything that is around at the moment. I think Cape Town is one of the only other cities that has a mobile-first website. So that is going to be very exciting. Pretty much everything is going to operate from the information that is being sought will be found on our website. And it is based on using on your mobile, on your cell phone. So therefore it's very simple and very clear, and we look forward to presenting to this platform as it develops. Right now it's still in the structure side of things, but we are busy with the content at the same time. The Wesgro team is busy updating our corporate identity documentation, and we will be involved in the SATSA fam trip in October. We've done the masks with meaning, and we will be in touch with you, Councillor. They should be ready for rollout by next week. We've engaged with the JOC to identify areas where need is greatest, and we continue to support our industry. With regards to virtual Knysna Oyster Festival, there is a separate report. I'm not going to run through it now unless requested, but there is a detailed report on the benefits. It was fantastic, if I can say so. I'm very pleased that we went ahead and did the virtual. We were one of the first events to go virtual, so it was a big learning curve. And within the Garden Route, and certainly within the Western Cape and other areas, we have been contacted by numerous people to say how did we do, what did we do, and give them guidance on how we ran the event. From an exposure perspective, it was fantastic, and from the fact that we actually did the event, and for going forward for the Knysna Oyster Festival, it was really important that we did this. And I think it also gave us the opportunity to instill the oyster with the Knysna Oyster Festival, because there was a lot of coverage on the oysters themselves. So yes, very excited that we did that, and it was a great success. Going forward, we've been on the one-day campaign. As we go into the next report, you'll see that has evolved. The selfie process has evolved since this process presented here. We've moved on to interactive art, street art, and I'll touch on that a little bit more just now. We continue to share newsletters with our consumers, and we're in the process of developing routes in order to promote the new. What has come out of all of this is the same old needs to change, and we need to identify amongst ourselves what is new. So it's going to take a lot of close work between the LED department and ourselves. Our tourist guides play a huge role in that. We need to identify what else is there within the Greater Knysna area, what, in addition to the same icons, is there that we can actually promote. The tour operators and the trade are looking for what's new. So, yeah, looking forward to rolling out and discovering that. On our budgets, this was our financial year 2019 to 2020 update. We had underspent, but you'll see in the next report we are on top of that, and we are going forward into this financial year where we are currently. And there is an update in the next report, so I'm going to close this one and touch on that. And there is also an updated detail of deliverables against our service level agreement. So I'm just going to add the other one. This is the next report. This is up until the end of August for the September meeting that was scheduled. Again, touching back into the 3 phases that we went through with Westbro. We had already got into recovery, which is where we are still at this stage of the game. Domestic tourism, obviously the focus right now, but anticipating a update from the president, hopefully shorter, and hopefully not just regional travel, and hopefully it will be international travel as well. Our staff, we're back to normal. We are operating fully, and we are getting visitors, obviously domestic visitors, into the office. It is still very slow, and it is going to take a while, but long weekends and those kind of situations do help. The fact that we are not within 2 hours from Cape Town is not to our advantage, so therefore long weekends are more beneficial, obviously, from our side. A big market for us is the Eastern Cape side, because we are closer to proximity to them than we are to Cape Town specifically. We've been working very closely with our director, with Marlene and her team, as we are also working closely with Westgrow and continue to do so. Again, the weekly engagements with Westgrow continue. The domestic campaign, we are now going to roll out we are rolling out a sub-campaign for Visit Knysna, and that is working very closely with the Westgrow marketing team and the Westgrow's marketing agency. So it's to our advantage from a financial perspective. And in all the reports, as I said earlier, Knysna and the Greater Knysna area certainly do get benefit, because we get exposure where the garden route is referred to. Invariably, it is a Knysna or a Sedgefield or a forest from our area picture that is depicted. So certainly beneficial for us. I did just a little further update from what is in the report with regards to the Oyster Festival. We hosted 40 events, bearing in mind that every one of them were virtual events, and we had 22 stream crossings. So the value and the value add for this was really good. And the proposed dates for next year are the 2nd to the 11th of July. And we anticipate that being a hybrid event, which means that it will be some live events as well as some virtual events, and we will broadcast some of the events online through Facebook and YouTube as we did this year. So yeah, it is going to be expanded. We can reach a far greater audience. As we did this year, we had some international followings, and that is touched on in the full report. From our Visit Knysna perspective, they're still busy with our corporate identity update. The Visit Knysna logo remains, but it is just an update of the documentation, actually putting full details to a document that's not really full. This, what I touched on earlier, were the selfie frames that we have evolved, and it is falls in line with the Knysna Municipality's destination management plan for interactive street art. We've had conversations with the Knysna Art Society and put out a request for proposals that closed late yesterday afternoon, and it is to the broader Knysna community, asking for inputs, suggestions, proposals, ideas towards interactive street art. It was shared not just to the Knysna Art Society, it was shared to the greater Knysna area, but the proposals were requested through the Knysna Art Society, and with them there will be an evaluation of what it has been submitted. As I mentioned, the Master with Meaning are in order. They should start rolling out from next week. And then our Visit Knysna, the snippets at the bottom of the page are snippets of the development in process at the moment. As I mentioned earlier, it is a mobile first site, so therefore it is going to be very clean, very crisp, and very specific in detail. Another factor for the website is that it's quickly downloadable, a very important factor going forward. 12 virtual tours, they fell into the one-day category. These have been followed by an additional 7 tours with the additional guides. Obviously, with the first batch, we could not accommodate everybody. We have now extended that and incorporated the balance of our tourist guides, and they will fall into the next part of the campaign, which is We're Open, and that is when they open the provincial borders, and theirs will follow into that format, and those are the areas that we're covering. As I mentioned earlier, we've ensured that we've covered the full Greater Knysna area and not just Knysna, so there is marketing benefit for the full environment. Our billboards are about to be updated, and those are the anticipated designs. The one on the top left with the flamingos, that is for Sedgefield. You can see Gericus Point in the background. And the one on the right is the dolphins. That is for the one on the Knysna side, that you can see Brentmont in the background. And the one at the bottom, that is to be on the Belvedere Brenton side of Knysna. The messaging here falls in line with our quarter, and this quarter being September to November. Rejuvenation, and it ironically falls in line with the COVID situation as well. Rejuvenation, welcome back. We're alive, but most importantly, we have wide open spaces, and we're open. The play on the We're Open wording. And also, I just want to also mention with regards to the billboards too, we are going to be updating them based on each quarter's theme, and they will also not have specifically the icons, the heads, etc. behind. We want to, like I mentioned earlier, we need to identify what else we have within the Greater Knysna area, and we're going to bring our billboards into that to try and promote. And what else do we have to offer? And we need to get our locals thinking like that as well. We can't be doing the same old, same old. It's time for and the new and what else we have. So the billboard concept is going to follow that as well. Somebody said to me, but we've never had the dolphins before on the billboard. So yeah, I also want to point out, just with regards to the billboard, for me, very important is the boards, as much as I say they are not iconic, the symbols that we're going to see, they also do need to be location specific. So with regards to the one in Sedgefield, you can see Gericus Point in the background. With regards to the one with the dolphins, you can see that it is Brenton. You will always be able to identify somewhere within the Greater Knysna area. They will be Greater Knysna area pictures that are used. That is very important in all our social media and media material that we utilize. Our social media marketing, that has evolved, and the messaging is also now about the We're Open. So the one day is now not one day when you come to the Greater Knysna area, it's now one day in the Knysna area, what you can do. So one day in Sedgefield, one day in Brenton, one day in Rannandale, etc. Obviously, as events unfold too, we will continue to promote those. The event panels underneath the billboards will still be pictures for now, but as events unfold and are approved, we'll move those back into the event notifications as well. The restaurants, there are still some that are not closed, so that continues to be updated. Planning during August, obviously this was done in August, but it was towards Tourism Month. So in Tourism Month, we have a photo challenge that is going to run from the 24th to the 27th. It is being advertised already, and people are encouraged to take photos now, but submissions will be from the 24th to the 27th. The Jerusalem Dance Challenge. The Knysna Municipality team did one, great, and we're going to make a promotional video out of all of those that have been shared with us from the Greater Knysna area. But our staff and our tourist guys and a couple of community representatives last Friday and Monday finished off yesterday. They went to sites around the Greater Knysna area, to Cloud9 in Sedgefield, to Brenton, to Belvedere, to White Location, to the Heads, and did the dance challenge. And we are busy collating that into a presentation at the moment, which will be shared on social media. I mentioned the Cape Crossing launch and the SATSA and West Grove fam trip, which is trade, and the fam trip being a familiarisation trip. They will be coming to the garden route, and some of them will be coming to the Greater Knysna area. We've actually got two groups coming. One is a youth group, and the other one is trade general. The We're Open campaign, we are going to have a sub-campaign which is underway at the moment, to West Grove's We're Open campaign. It will run from September to January. It will include our summer season. The intention is to re-advise that we are open for business, and this is what you can do within the Greater Knysna area. And again, it's going to promote the obvious, but also to identify the other that we have on offering. Our target audience will be Gauteng, Eastern Cape and Western Cape. Western Cape General, their target audience is going to be Gauteng, Western Cape and KZN, but for us the Eastern Cape is a far greater market on this side of, on the garden route side of the Western Cape. Focus is on high earners, families and digital nomads. Just from a terminology, digital nomads being those that work remotely. Obviously this has indicated a great opportunity for us, and the information that and the content of this will be a video, social media campaign, press releases, and a trade toolkit that we can use going forward in presenting to trade, because obviously trade relations now are open and operational as well. Just to give you an idea of that, it will be far away feeling, and the idea is, if you look on the one on the right, it's Experience Bali, but Bali is actually similar to the Knysna Heads. And this is the concept of one of the phases within the campaign, is that far away feeling. Bearing in mind also that many people would have traveled internationally and they will now spend their budgets and their travel money locally, and it's to appeal to that audience. The next pages are basically a summary of our service level agreement with the municipality and the rollout and activation and updates. This will be updated at every meeting and supplied to this portfolio. With regards to updating on where we're at in regards to our service level agreement with the Knysna municipality, there are 21 points, and these are updated to date. You have had this information, so I'm happy to answer questions, but the information has been shared. And then this is our budget. As I said to you, our budget underspend from the last financial year has been incorporated, it's been updated and all captured. And at this stage, we are still a 90,000 underspend, which will fall into our events budget as we progress and go forward. Bearing in mind also that the Knysna Oyster Festival budget needs to come into this factor. I think that is all from my side. We are travel ready. We look forward to our internationals visiting, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
What's happening, Chair?
Hello, members. Sorry, man. I'm using my. Matika's laptop now. Thank you, Colin, with the presentation. Is there any questions?
We can't hear you, Chair.
Can you hear me now? Ruben?
Yes, Chair, I have a question.
I can hear you, sir.
Okay, anyone for questions? The floor is open. Colin is ready to give answers.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. But you want to also ask?
Over to one. Councillor Matiwan, your hand is up. Do you want to ask any questions? Committee members, do you want to ask questions so that you can allow Colin to give answers? If there's none, then let's go to recommendations.
Chair? Chairperson?
Yes. Yes.
It's Matiwani, Chair. I have one question that I want to ask Colin. I want to ask to Colin, Chairperson, that what is their plan to the BNBs around the northern areas? Because I read the plan in what you said, but I didn't see that what is the plan in state that can improve tourists to sleep over in the northern areas or in any other place except the town. Because I think if it can elaborate on that, what is the plan which they have? Also moving again, Chair. I see that they're going to visit areas. I want to know as well to Westgro. Did Westgro tourism divide in two sections? That do they have the brochure of the town and the brochure for outskirts? Because, for instance, we have places in our areas. He mentioned it as one of the places that were visited. Are they part of the brochure of NISA or are by the way? So that we can be able to know if the tourists come to NISA, they want the northern areas or outskirts brochure. Do they have that for them?
Are you finished, Matiwan? Hello?
Yes, Chair.
Colin, the floor is yours.
Thank you for that. With regards to the BNBs and the brochure information, anything in the Greater Knysna area is what is incorporated in our information. It is a two-way situation. We engage with them, but they also need to engage with us. And if they feel that the information is not with us, we would encourage them to be in touch with our office because it does need to be incorporated. Just bearing in mind that as we progress, information will then also be on the website, which is where most people go to these days to look for the information. So the BNBs in the northern areas, obviously that is what we need to elaborate, but we need to work with the products to develop them and with the LED department to identify again where there is opportunity within the community that can be incorporated in greater abundance. Our problem at the moment is our tourist guides are all doing the same, and that is why I keep elaborating. We need to find the different. And in the community, as far as I'm concerned, there must be huge opportunity, but we need to know about it. So between myself and Fumanekile, I think we've got, there is big opportunity with our tourist guides to elaborate and evolve further. So please, if there are any products there that we are not aware of, I would encourage them to be in touch with our office. We would gladly work with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Is there any questions before we go to the recommendations? Committee members, let me guide you then. Go to page 33 and page 225 is where we find our recommendation. Are we going with those recommendation, committee members?
Yes, Chair.
Yebo.
Thank you. Noted. Thank you, Colin. Let's move
Appreciate
then
it
back
and
to
have a
our-
good day further.
Okay, Chair, see you. Committee members, can we go back then to our agenda now? We have our, at page 11, we have our quarter four report. And the recommendation is on page 12. Is there anything that someone want to ask so that the director can assist us? Thank you.
What page are we on, please, Chair?
Page 11.
Thank you.
7.1. Yes. The recommendation is on page 12. If there's anything that members want to know, they can ask the director here to assist us. Committee members, are you still around? Can we move the recommendation?
Yes, Chair.
Yes, Chair, we can move.
Now to page. Are we together? 7.2, page 16. Your recommendation is on page 17. Committee members, are you around?
Yes, Chairperson.
Trubal?
We can go with the recommendation.
Going to the recommendation, thank you.
Yeah, go with the
Are you going
recommendation.
with the recommendation as well?
Yebo.
Thank you.
Yes.
19. The recommendation is on page 19. Okay, recommendation, Platen Yentin. Committee members, are you going to discuss bar? Committee members, where are you?
Chairperson, sorry, man, I don't know why. It looks like today I'm a traffic department. People just come to my house and I run in and out to just say they must wait or give me a second, etc.
No, it goes with the job, councillor. Sorry to be a one council. Now we're on page 19, the recommendation. AJ, your agenda for you. Mamuketi and Mamunaki, put
It's
Matuane, recommendation is Platen Yentin. Are we going?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
thanks.
yes, Councillor.
Yes, Chair.
Page 22. Recommendation is on Platen 5 recommendation is page 25. General Dar. Committee members, Committee members, page 25, your recommendation is there.
Yes, let's go to the recommendation, Chair.
Thank you, Matiwane Strubel and Katie Mamnaki.
Yes, yes, Chair.
Fine, Chair.
Okay. Thank Mama. Page 27, the recommendation is there. The item is on page 26. Recommendation with 27.
Chairperson, I'm just checking something here quickly.
Well, in the agenda on your house. The last time I checked, you said you got people outside your house.
Sorry, I mean like on the agenda. I'm checking something on the agenda.
Okay, I will wait then. Thank you. You'll guide me, I'll be waiting for you.
Okay, Chairperson, I'm there now. I'm just sorry, man. It's like I'm saying, I've lost a little bit of concentration here, but I'm here. I'm on page. I'm on page 30. I think it is in the same item that we are discussing now. It is the page that I'm on. It says the project budget Q4. Excuse me. I want to allude to the fact that Blue Flag Green Coast program, Buffalo Bay Rehabilitation, BAC completed and tender awarded, etc. And I also see that the Blue Flag for 2021 season is being deferred for one season due to COVID. Okay, so I understand that, but what I would like to ask the director through you, Chairperson, is I understand that the Blue Flag has now been deferred for obviously all beaches, which include now Brenton as well. But I would like to find out, especially now with Buffalo Bay. In Buffalo Bay, there's obviously a lot of work. And then this embankment or this project is one of the big concerns for the residents in Buffalo Bay. I also understand that from what I now see is that I don't know if we will obviously, if all of what is currently an issue will be resolved in terms of the beach or the season readiness, and also for the beach to have a much better eye for our holiday makers. I've also found that for that specific beach to be ready and tidy, all departments actually need to buy in. So I just like to find out from the director, what will the specific department do, the planning department do, to get that beach ready for the season from their side. So because this is engagement that I've already have with community services as well. And I found that it looks like there's all departments need to come in to assist, because last year I've sit with the same problem that I'm currently having in Buffalo Bay. And I mean, like, it is pressure on a councillor. I think last year I could get away with how the beach looked like. But this year, a year later, I don't think I will have any excuses. So I just like to find out what will the department do to do their bit in Buffalo Bay. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Councillor. Director, can you please answer the councillor?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson, the issues with Buffalo Bay is it's very serious, and our department has done a previous study to determine what needs to be done. Following from that, there was a procurement process and a budget allocation for the financial year that was part of the reporting for the Q4 report, which is the closeout report for the previous financial year. There was a budget set aside, but as a result of the fact that there was complete closures due to COVID over the time that we were supposed to commence the project could not be commenced. And at the time, we also did not know when the project would be able to commence. And the municipality also had its financial, I'm going to put the words in inverted commas, crisis, but where we were asked that we've got to do quite severe and stringent budget cuts. the manager for economic development, for environmental management, has been in contact with the budget office, potentially with a view to for money to be restored in an adjustment budget. So there are workshops coming up, Councillor, in the next few days where that may be one of the items that we need to bring in so that we can do. There's quite a lot of serious civil work, and then once that has been done, quite a lot, an extensive amount of physical vegetative rehabilitation work that is required at the Buffalo Beach. But that all obviously requires quite a lot of resources. And that is our biggest request for any adjustment process between now and the next financial year, is that some money is made available specifically for this project, so that from our side we can oversee that we do the major environmental restoration that is required to be done at that beach. In general, even though the Blue Flag program is not going on, Councillor, we are still encouraging other departments that we continue with the same level or standard of operation that we would have had as a collective over the Blue Flag period, so that next year when the budget is available for us to apply for the to make our applications again, that we are able to then be in a position where everything has been restored and the Blue Flag will be able to be continued from the next season onwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Councillor, are you happy?
Chairperson, can I quickly come back there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, thank you very much to the Director for clarifying this. So I think then we agree, because I'm also now concerned, because when Colleen spoke, then she also referred to my part of the ward, which is obviously a holiday destination. So I think that we agree that this is quite critical, and especially one of the things that Colleen have mentioned is that obviously holiday makers won't go overseas, so people would like to come to the garden route, and I think so the municipality or us as a collective going into the adjustment budgets will really have to look at what we're going to do, because Buffalo Bay is currently, it is a disaster. I know that there's residents who's tuned in on YouTube specifically for this to understand, because that is one of the things that they are burning me with. What are we going to do? So as long as we've got the reach consensus, Director, that this is very important, then I'm happy with that. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor, let me assure you by saying this. Here we are dealing with tourism in the Greater Nile, which tourism will assist us in terms of turning around the economy of this town and also creating jobs for the people. At the adjustment budget, we'll put party politics aside, we'll be concerned about our own people. When some of people are talking about our town, that we can assure you will be with you in this one. Thank you. Can we go to the recommendation then, page 27?
Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, are we moving with the recommendation?
Yes, sir, I'm happy.
There are other councillors. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. And then we move to 7 point. We dealt with 7.6. Now we're dealing with 7.7, page 80. 80. Land Use Management Division. Any questions? The recommendation is page 81. Any questions? The recommendation is at page 81.
Fine.
We can note the
Go
report.
with the recommendation.
Thank you. Then let's move to page 84.
Chairperson, if I may. Just to,
Okay.
because this is not just a normal monthly report. Chairperson, we've included this particular item. This isn't a conclusion, but just to give the councillors some assurance that we are doing the work in terms of the overlay that is required for Hornby, Renendal and Smutsville area. And what I've asked the department to do is just to present in your Section 80 meeting a process plan for how we're going to roll out the process so that the councillors can be aware of what is expected from us at which at which interval, so that it is possible for you to exercise your oversight. So we have just presented this to you so that you can see that we are actually planning and by when each part of the process will be happening. So this is just for information for the council so that we don't just say that we are doing it, but we actually put something in writing to you to commit ourselves to it. Thank you.
Councillors, we hear the director. Is there any questions or going to recommendations?
And thank you, Director, for putting that on.
Thanks, Maukati. Then we move to page 87. Economic Development Department July report. The recommendation is at page 88.
Chair.
Over to one.
Okay, goes Chair. Chair, I want to ask from the department, what measures did they put in place to grow the economy as we are hit by COVID-19? Because I thought now they will present maybe a sketchy plan to us of saying that committee adopt this plan, this will grow the economy of Nigeria. Moving again, Chair, I see trainings here which they are doing. I don't see mentoring and coaching, because if you put a person incubator course, after the incubation, there's no mentoring and coaching, because a person needs to be coached for him to be a business person. I only see the incubator, which means for me, it's not about the final product, it's all about just doing. That's my concern, Chair. Moving again, Chair. I see one of the reports said they're facilitating facilitating investment. I want to know, they must explain broader, what is the facilitation of investment and which areas are being targeted as the investment areas, so that we can be able to know our another areas will be included. Our renewal, or is the CPD, this facilitation of investment that we are talking about? Thank you very much, Chair.
Director, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. And Chairperson, this morning there was an email that was sent around, maybe just by introduction before I start my response. An email was sent around to all users to confirm that there is now an acting manager for the Economic Development Department, and that is Fumi, who is present in the meeting. He has said to me that he has difficulties with his microphone on the Teams meeting, but for purposes of this report, because this is a report partly done by Petrus before he left, I will do the responses, but just so that the councillors take note and are aware in this meeting of Fumi's acting appointment, and then we have submitted a request for the recruitment of a permanent person for the advertising of the permanent job, so that councillors are just aware of the management in terms of the department. Having said that, in terms of the responses to Councillor Matiwani's questions, firstly, with regards to the training, we do a lot of ongoing training, and what we find that in the training, because we offer diverse training, so it's not the same thing that is repeated over and over again, but there are different things that we do, that trainings that we make offerings of. sometimes it's the same companies who come back for the various types of training, and we build up a networking and we build up a mentoring relationship with the SMMEs that attend our various trainings. In respect of mentoring and coaching, and particularly with our incubator participants, the incubator program actually does involve quite a lot of mentoring and coaching. And at the end of the previous incubator process last year, the previous financial year's one, on the last day, there are definite take-ups from people who want to be in further coaching and mentoring relationships, where we can match people to people within the business sector that can give them the type of guidance, etc., that they need. We do that. But mentoring and coaching is exactly the process that we follow in our incubator training. It's because we want to walk a bit of a way with the SMMEs and not let them just come in, have a training, and then go home. There is actually quite a lot of in-depth looking at their companies, looking at their businesses, and assisting them in more ways than just their business. Sometimes it's just people need some personal development, etc. So as we identify those things, we do that, and we do take a very much of a coaching approach to our incubator training. Then in respect of the, I'm first going to speak about the question around the investment facilitation. The investment facilitation, it's not particular to a particular area in Knysna, but it is industries that we want to stimulate within Knysna. So at the moment, we are looking at things like boat building and light industry, because those are things that there is a keen uptake for in terms of an international market where people are interested in those kinds of things. They are also things that we can accommodate within our environmental context. And those are the kind of things which, if we do get enough investment in it, can create jobs of a nature that people in Knysna are skilled to be able to do. We're also looking at our timber industry and the revival of the timber industry per se, so that there is a possibility of job creation in there, because that is also where historically Knysna is based in, and there's a lot of skill in the marketplace that can be utilized for that. The other area that we're looking that investment is being drawn into is that we, especially as a result of COVID, need to be looking at different new ideas around our agricultural stimulation and our agricultural development within our area. So it is very widespread in terms of a geographical investment focus, but in terms of the actual investment we've learned from COVID that even though tourism is important for Knysna and we still want to grow our tourism, we cannot be only dependent on our tourism, and we've got to have other investment into other aspects of our of our town. So we're looking particularly at boat building and light industry as big job generation areas of investment. Thank you. And then, sorry, there was the question on the economic recovery post-COVID. We have presented a discussion document to the portfolio chairperson, which is an ongoing document. But in summary, what we have found is that if councillors will remember that about 2 years ago, councillors approved an economic development plan for Knysna municipality. The economic development plan that was approved by the council already at that time identified that we cannot be solely reliant on tourism, and already identified what other types of industries, types of investments that we need to be promoting and trying to stimulate in Knysna. What we found in terms of the COVID and COVID recovery is that actually our economic development plan as it stands already is geared towards what is required for recovery in COVID. So the same theoretical principles are still in place. The issue for Knysna municipality at this point in time is just that we need to match what we can do with what is available in terms of our budget. So our programs that we've designed already are geared to be able to address the impact of COVID, but we need to obviously try and either get investment or we are applying as a department for all the types of grant funding that comes to our knowledge in order to be able to augment what council can afford to give towards those programs. So my answer to that is, if we stay on track with our economic development plan, we should be able to absorb the impact of COVID as part of that and the recovery of the impact that is required from COVID if we stick to the economic development plan that council has approved, and if we get the budget investments towards that. But from the department side, we've submitted some applications that have come forward as a result of COVID, where there is potential for particularly tourism development products post-COVID, which we are hoping to be able to qualify for. So we will report to council once we have received a response on our interest in those particular funding opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Councillor Luzuko, I see your hands up.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone. Chair, sorry, I just want to apologize for joining you late. But in any case, I'm here now. Thanks, Chair. Chair, firstly, I want to welcome the appointment of the acting manager in this department, economic development. Even though I've got concerns, because it's worrying when you have such a critical position being vacant, not having anyone acting for it's a month and a half now. And I think I did query this, but I'm glad that it finally happened. But it is very much concerning that we are unable to appoint an acting person, and it takes us a month and a half to do that. I would like to know maybe what were the problems there of not appointing this person, because I think he's been there now for us for a long time. Chair, just to go on this report, the EPWP KPI, Chair, I would have loved this. I joined you late. I would have loved to raise this question in the report that was on the first item, but I think I can also ask it here. In the council meeting that we had at the district, we had a report showing the performance of the EPWP at the whole district, and it also went down to show the towns. And Knysna, we're sitting at 46. But that is now from 2019, March till April this year. So we're sitting at 46% performance in that report. I would like to know what's the problem there? What are the challenges? Because I believe EPWP can solve a lot of things. We've got a lot of unemployed people in this town, whereas we get a grant from province and we don't utilize it. We only perform 46%. Some municipalities are way above us. They are sitting at 100 and something percent. I would like to know what are the challenges there? Why are we not performing up to that standard? Thank you, Chair.
MM, I saw your hand.
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning to all the members and the other councillors, my colleagues, and also my apology for having only joined you late. I was occupied with something else. Just in respect of the acting appointment in the manager position, that was a process that was on my desk for the full period that the councillor referred to, and I had to make sure that I make the right decision. There was certain information that I needed to get, Chair. So if there's anybody to be blamed for the process taking so long, it's me. But I had to make sure that I consider everything that was in front of me. It was not an easy decision to make, but I had to make it eventually. So I just want to inform the councillor that it was on my desk, and I fortunately could make the appointment last week. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, MM. You are man enough. Yeah, you are like anyone. Take responsibility. We want people like you. I think Luzuko now is happy. Councillor Katie, floor is open.
Thank you. I was mostly covered by the director and also by Councillor Tiokolo. I just have one other question. I know I read somewhere, I'm sorry, I'm not on that page now, that they did training for tourist operators. I think it was in January. I'd like to know who got this training and whether it was worth their while and whether they've been able to pick the fruit for these people that went for the training in tourism. I would like to know what happened after the training was done. Did these people apply for jobs or do they go on themselves to try and find a job? Thank you.
I hope that I'm making notes about the question. The TM, floor is open.
No, Councillor Skosana, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. No, I think, Councillor, I think I'm also covered, man, because on that question of Councillor Chokolo, you know, around the appointment of the acting manager there, I think I'm also covered. Let me not really waste time. Thank you.
Was it TM Strubel?
Chairperson, yes, thank you very much. I quickly just want to go back to what the director, if I think when the director responded to Councillor Matiwani's question, the director mentioned, I think it was what economic development plan that you spoke about. And then I'm just on a lighter note, but the director also alluded to the fact that we don't want to only concentrate on tourism. Tourism is obviously it take a big chunk of our income. However, we want to expedite, which is very good. I just like to find out from the director. It's just on a lighter note. You don't need to give me specifics, but just to look at other interests, other entities, sectors. Is Nyasa municipality open for conservation farming? I'm glad that the acting MM is also in the meeting. Just you don't need to give me specifics. Just yes, maybe not, or etc. I just want to find out. Thank you.
Yes, Director, I force you so that we can go to the recommendations.
Chair.
Thank you very much.
Chair.
Wait, Director Matuane Gena. Trubel, your hand is up, and Comrade Sengwa, you and the TM hand is still up.
Director, I've asked a question about coaching. For me, my concern is one with your training of incubator. After the person have left the incubator, you cannot take, for me that I'm sitting here, I want to tell me that there were 15 people. I can tell you their names. I can tell how their companies are improving. But you can't tell me now. Hence I'm saying that we're training because we have to train. But if you put any person, a mentor, a coach, you can tell me explicitly after you take him out of a training and say that in this second year, this person is here. This person is here in a level of business. For me, I don't want to get to a point where we waste money just because we have to train people, not to empower. When you empower, you work with the person up to a point he understands. But I feel like your department, hence I can ask you now, who are the people that were incubators the last financial year? You won't tell me upfront how their companies are doing in the fields which they're choosing. It's the only platform for me to interrogate you is there. Hence I'm saying to you, Director, let's not train because we want to train. Let's empower our people. Empowering means is to go to the last reach to ensure that person becomes a business person.
Chair, are we still here?
Looks like the chair has disappeared.
So, I've got people now in my office. I'll be with you now within seconds. Approval. Committee.
Chairperson.
Director, do you have, before I give my director, let me say to the committee members and councillors that today we've been told that we got a new acting manager. I think the acting manager is also listening to this discussion. I think it's very fundamental that he should make notes about what has been said here by councillors. And he must come with something that could speak to our town. I believe he's young, he's energetic. He must be sure that when we meet in under Section 80, this kind of question, he must be able to deal with them out of his fingers. And it must speak to the greater nice. Tourism is not about the CPT. And small businesses is not about it in town here. It's about all greater nice. As correctly said by my Tijuana, that we need to have millionaires that we can say that Diana Tongaruk, he used to have nothing, but he's been groomed by us in the municipality. In those few words, comrades, members, let's be patient with the new person who's on board. He will take us somewhere. He's a graduate. We didn't just take him from nowhere. He knows his story. But okay, let me give over to the director as well. Director, is there anything that you want to say around the issues that were raised here? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor. Firstly, I will start from the first question. Councillor Chokolo referred to a report that was submitted to the Eden District Council. I will be happy to discuss that report with Councillor Chokolo because I don't know what the contents of the Eden report was, but we have been we have expended most of our WP money in the previous quarter. We did have some issues at the start of this year with our tranche payment, but we had a meeting last week, or sorry, not the end of the previous week. We had a meeting.
Director, sorry to interject.
Sorry, yes.
Yes, sorry to interject, but I think also we must do justice as councillors in terms of the Eden report, because we've got councillors that report presenting us in Eden. I think we should speak with the office of the speaker that there must be a standing item from the Eden side that they also report to all of us as a collective of the council. So they don't know that they don't represent their red tails. They represent the council. You can continue, Director. Thanks.
We will also engage with the district coordinator of the EPWP councillor. We did have a meeting with him, as I was busy saying, so that we can have we've had an agreement in our meeting that we will in our internal, we will conduct an internal steering committee meeting in Knysna municipality, but where we will also have the coordinator from the district participating in our steering committee. So I will use that forum to request that they also have an opportunity to address this portfolio on a standing item basis. If that is required, we can arrange that with them because of the new working relationship that we have established with them. Then in terms of Councillor Weideman's question on the tourism training, the tourism training is aimed to empower people who are active within the industry and further develop them. People who either look for jobs or they develop their own, they use the training, the learnings from the training to bring improvements about in their own businesses. Councillor Weideman, we don't necessarily have, if we train people as a skills development training, it doesn't necessarily mean that we do have job opportunities available for them, but it is so that they are able to put the training and the certificates that they potentially get out of the training on their CVs so that it is easier for them to be able to get jobs within the tourism marketplace. We do, as you know from Colleen's report, work closely enough with a lot of the tourism products, and I think that they value quite highly people who have been trained through our programs when they can show on their CVs that they have participated in our programs. So that is really the level at which we can operate. Obviously, when people do make opportunities for employment available to us and they make us aware of that, then we put them in touch with the correct people so that they can recruit credible and trained people. Then, in terms of Councillor Strubbel's question, I don't think that the question needs to be asked in a, in a light-hearted manner. Obviously, I have said in a previous response to another question that we have to be looking at agricultural, at stimulating an agricultural market. And I think that your question regarding conservation agriculture and conservation farming, I think it's important, and it might be something that we would need to look at, and that is going to inform what we do when we want to attract investment. I think that our area is quite attractive towards people with a conservation and environmental conservation outlook. But I think if it is extended to the agricultural spaces within our geography, then it is actually quite a welcome exploration for us. So I don't take it as lighthearted as you intended, Councillor Strubbel. Thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tara. Can we move now to the recommendation in page 88? Committee members.
Yes, Chair.
Thank you, Mama. Carlos. Let's go to page 92. Recommendation is at page 93. Committee members. As you know, Khadar, mensen jullie jagen. Councillors, committee members, page 93, your recommendation is there.
I'm here, Chairperson. I'm good.
Are we moving?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Then we go to what 7, Bongani Cashman, 98, page 98. Recommendation is on page 99. Councillors. Councillors, recommendation is at page 99.
Yes, Chair.
Goes what you want. Strubbel.
Yes, Chairperson.
Strubbel. Okay. Then we move to page 205. Recommendation is at 206. Councillors. Councillors, yes,
Chair.
Still around.
Yes, Chair.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We move to page 220, Building Control Division. Recommendation is at page 223. Councillors?
Yes, Chair, it's fine.
It's fine.
Yes, Chair.
Thanks. Thanks, councillors. Thanks, officials. This is the end of the business. That the meeting has been adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you,
Finished,
Chairperson.
councillors. Thanks
Dank
a
u,
lot.
voorsitter.
Thank
Wow.
you. Thank you.
Councillor Skosana.
Thank you, Chair.
Well done,
I'm
Chair.
giving over to housing now. I'm giving over to housing. Thank you.
Yeah,
It too.
thank you very much, Councillor Skosana. Yeah, this meeting was quick, man.